Hey, what's up, America? The world getting less colorful. So, is the world getting less colorful? Well, according to scientists, yes, the world is getting less colorful, meaning there's less color variations and less vibrancy in the world than there used to be long, long ago. Now, we've seen that with cars, we've seen that with building aesthetics and architecture. It's really getting bland as shit and quite boring. But now we have to look at if all that's actually happening and if it's rooted in scientific fact, because yes, it is. So we've seen a decline in the color of things, like these images. So we've all seen images like this that show the vibrancy of the past versus the corporate boardroom kind of garbage dump feel at the bottom here in the modern day. So here's the old Taco Bell from back in the day, and then here's the new Taco Bell. It literally looks like someone suctioned the color out of the new Taco Bell compared to the old world big McDonald's images versus this trash, and bland architecture like this garbage and this, and again, living diarrhea. But look at the colorlessness of it. So what I'm showing you here is a chart of color variation starting at 1800 all the way to the year 2020. Objects from the past were photographed and put into a system from the past all the way up to the present to show the color variations and the frequency of that. You can see on the left here the amount, 100 being the highest and 0 being the lowest, and of course the timeline at the bottom starting at 1800 and going all the way to the year 2020. So in the 1800s, we saw not much purple and blue, and we saw a color variation spread of every type of color except for basically blues, purples, and greens, but it was spread moderately evenly. Of course, you can see more browns and yellows were prominent back then, but as we start to go forward in the timeline, we see blacks and whites start to take more prominence, and then, of course, greens, blues, and purples started to take prominence because of their lower cost. Oranges are now big. What you notice sometime around the 1980s and again in the 2000s and up to today, we're having a big increase of white and black. And so, yes, the color variations are actually declining to where white and black are now making up about 60%, 55% of the color. 60 or 65% if you add the slight variations with a little bit of blue, white, and green, white, and yellow, white variations. So if you look at it this way, the top is how it used to be, and the bottom is how it is now. And you'll notice that there were more colors that are brought to light, but more frequency of blacks, whites, and darker shades. So yes, over time, this looks like a color variation toilet bowl being suctioned away, because it is. You're seeing less and less vibrant colors and more of the same repeating color schemes in white and black here. And so why is this happening? Why is the world becoming less colorful, even though colors like purple and blues, which used to be incredibly expensive, are now more readily available? Well, obviously, it's cheapness. That's the beginning of it. Companies are fucking cheap and people are lazy. So they're making shit white, which is colorless, which doesn't cost as much, black, which is easy to replicate and cheap as well, and their profits are soaring regardless of the industry. So main reasons include standardizing mass production, which the move towards mass production and standardization often leads to the use of neutral color schemes like black, white, and gray. They're saying those are timeless colors. Then they're saying that people that have a great deal of money prefer gray tones, and there's a preference for minimalism, but I disagree. I think certain people like minimalism. I like maximalism. So they're saying also people have started going away from wood and metal and then shifting to synthetic materials like plastic and silicone, and that's impacting the color palettes, but I think that people just aren't doing the color schemes. We're not given the options. Now also, of course, as you age, your eyes start to dim because of the use and overuse, so it'd be nice if you had a lens transplant, every person on earth at one point or another, but that's something you have to deal with. This is outside of that. They're also saying that pollution and drought is starting to take the colors away. And if you haven't noticed, there's also bees and butterflies that are going through extinction level crisis right now. And so all of those together, people being cheap, manufacturing for more cost-effective measures, making shit more uniform, pollution, climate change, whatever you want to call it, all that shit together is making a colorless world. You can see that a lot in cars as well. On the road, you see that a great deal. And so, do you prefer a more colorful world? Because I sure the fuck do. This thing looks bland and boring.